Alright, so here is what we're going to build. We're going to take the MNIST dataset of handwritten digits. There's a train and a test component. We're going to use some Python code to make a TensorFlow model, which we'll save to cloud storage. We'll do all of that using a Vertex AI pipeline. We'll take that same model and serve it via the Vertex AI endpoints. Then we'll have a fairly thin cloud function also in Python that receives images and runs them through that model and outputs the prediction. So like this picture of a 7 should hopefully get recognized as a 7. So let's go ahead and follow these handy dandy instructions I wrote for myself. Let's start by creating that project. So it looks like we got Artful Willow 391019. Let's go ahead and create that. So the first thing that we need to do is create a bucket for ourselves. So let's go to cloud storage, create that bucket. Let's go ahead and just pick the project name as the bucket. We do need to put it in a single region. It has to be in the same region as Vertex AI. So let's go ahead and put it in US West 1. I think the rest we can leave as default. Yes, we want to prevent public access. That's great. Okay, so that bucket is being created. We need to go ahead and drop these into the environment. So let's do that. Artful Willow 391, etc. We'll put them into this nvarc file I have. So there's the project. We called the bucket just bucket. There it is. We don't have the endpoint yet. We do have US West 1, so let's do that. Now we need to just put ourselves in this project on the command line. Cool. Okay. So now we need to upload that training code to cloud storage. So let's go ahead and do that. Training code, upload training code. So all this is doing, let's actually just go ahead and take a look at it. We're running the Python build to get that that tarball, and then we're copying the distribution onto our cloud storage bucket into the training folder. So that's what we need to do that training pipeline. So let's come over here. Actually, let's do it here. Vertex AI. There it is. Okay, let's enable it. While that's happening, let's come over to models. We'll create one with a custom training method. That's going to be our Python code. So we'll just call the model MNIST, train new model. That's fine. What's here? We don't need to do anything there. Okay, TensorFlow 2.1. Okay, so this is our Python distribution, which is not there. Why is it not there? Oh, of course. There it is, invalid URL. I didn't actually export that, so let's dir env allow. There we go. Okay, now, there we go. Turns out you gotta follow the instructions. Okay, let's come back here, and we should see our, there it is. Okay, trainer. Cool. The Python module is just trainer.task. I'm just following defaults from the documentation. Model output directory. Let's create a new folder called just trained models. Okay, we'll select that. We'll press continue. We don't need hyperparameters. Let's just get the smallest machine type. That's great. We don't need any acceleration. Let's keep going. And let's actually build a prediction container at the same time. It'll populate with the default. There we go, TensorFlow, trained models, and we don't need any of those schemas. Let's go ahead and start training. This should take a few minutes. Let's take a look at it here. And there it is. That's fine. This will just sort of sit here for a while. While this is running, let's go take a look at what our training code actually does. So that's trainer task.python. So this is following the sample code from TensorFlow. You can actually take a look at the notebook over here under training notebook, beginner IPython notebook. Cool. So this is just straight off the TensorFlow samples. I have the exact URL that I used in the README. So this is the core of it. We're loading up the MNIST data. There's more information about that over here. Then we're making a model by this is the neural network. This is some filtering. And this is another neural network layer. And so this is just doing that same thing. There's the model. There's the loss function that's down here somewhere right there. Then we compile it. That's from over here. We fit it against the training data. And then the last thing that we do is we save it to, this is the directory specified by Vertex AI. And so that'll be that cloud storage bucket. So this one's pretty straightforward. Again, just pulling it straight off the sample. Let's go take a look at how our training is doing. While that's doing that, we actually need to turn on cloud functions. So let's go do that while we're waiting. Cloud functions. I guess we actually don't create function. Oh yes, here it is. So we need some stuff enabled. Cool. Whole lot of waiting when you're getting started. Oh, there it is. Okay, so this thinks it's almost done, and we're done. Okay, 3.5 minutes. Cool. Okay, so our model is now ready, and we should be able to see that if we come to our bucket. Bucket, trained models. There should be something in here now. Model. Cool. There is the saved TensorFlow model. Great. Okay. So now that we have done that, let's go back to the README. Okay, we've done the training pipeline. We can complete. Now we need to deploy the model to an endpoint. So let's go ahead and do that. That's under the model registry, MNIST. The first version of it. We're going to deploy it. Okay. Now we deploy to endpoint. I don't think the name really matters. Let's just call it MNIST endpoint. Standard, that's fine. Advanced options, that's fine. Model settings, this is all fine. We're just going to use the defaults. For the machine type, again, let's just pick the smallest one. We're not using a service account. Enable access logging, that's fine. Continue. And deploy. So this also takes a few minutes. While that's happening, so we're making our model available as an endpoint, and the next step is to have a cloud function to actually call it. One reason why we need that is that the model takes a vector of pixels that have been normalized to the 0 to 1 range, whereas our images are typically not that. They're like RGB or something like that. So the prediction function has a tiny bit of code to help us there. So that would be here. Here's our prediction function. So there's the main handler. We accept JSON as the body. We're looking for a field called B64 images where we've uploaded base64 encoded picture files. For each of those, we're going to convert it to that normalized pixel array I was talking about. And then we call our endpoint prediction using our project location, the pixels. And lastly, for each prediction, we're going to pick the largest value, which is the one the model thinks is most likely, the digit it thinks is most likely to be. Image to pixels, pretty straightforward. We just decode that off of the input. We take that decoded byte stream and we open it up as an image. This lets us support like PNGs and JPEGs or whatever. We convert it to L, which means grayscale. I'm assuming it's 28 by 28. In production, we'd probably fix that or something. Then we normalize it to that 255, to the 0 to 1 by the percentage out of 255. And then we take those pixels and make them a list. The endpoint prediction, this one's pretty straightforward. We just initialize our connection to the Vertex AI platform. We set up our endpoint, and then we predict on those instances, which each instance is that list of pixels for the picture. So let's see how this is doing. We are still deploying. Okay, let's let that run. Okay, the endpoint deployed. That took a little while, it turns out. So now we can make note of the ID right there, and let's add that to our environment. Whoops, it's right here. There we go. Let me allow that. Cool. Okay, so now we have our endpoint ID. And so let's go back to our README. So we got the endpoint, we've exported it, and now we need to upload our prediction function. So let's go to there, and here's what our script is going to do. It's going to export our environment variables to a file that we give to the cloud function so that it knows which endpoint location and project we're using. And then it just calls the gcloud CLI to deploy the handler function in the region with Python, HTTP, and then those environment variables. So let's go ahead and do that. And this one also takes a little bit, and we can watch that happening if we go here to cloud functions right here. Allow unauthenticated, no unauthenticated, deploying. There it is. Cool. So now we should see it in cloud functions. There it is. So it is deploying. This can also take a while. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, the deployment finished. So now we have a cloud function that is live. We can go ahead and call that thing. This is for local development. We can call it using this down here, gcloud function call. And so here, let's go ahead and give it this. This is a sample digit. Let's open that up and see what that looks like. That's a 7. And we're gonna get that as base64 and pass it in as b64 images. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're calling the function on the command line here. And we got back the result 7, which is what we expected. So that's, there you go. We just called our live function. Just for kicks, I have this function here, get prediction. Let's take a look at that. This is a pretty simple script. that takes a whole bunch of things, a whole bunch of files on the command line, and it creates a connection to Cloud Functions. It looks up our Cloud Function identifier by the project, the location, and the function name, which is just handler. Then it constructs that JSON data, which is the base 64 encoding of the bytes of each of the image. Then we dump that out to JSON, call the function, and get the response. So let's go ahead and do that for all of our sample images. So in this directory, sample images, I have sample digits that come from this file here. So this is a whole bunch of handwritten digits. Let's go ahead and do that. Get prediction, sample images, sample star.png. Okay, so we should get back a whole list of recognized numbers. There we go. So this is what the model predicted. Now some of these are wrong. For instance, one of the 4s is a 9. One of the 4s is an 8. Another 9 in there. Looks like all the 5s are correct. Let's check it in the logs just to see that it's going live. So here are the logs, and we should see the function invocations here. There we go. There they are. Very, very cool. Just for kicks, if we wanted to test the correctness of this, let's compare it against what we expect it to be, which here correct is going to be just this array. So just what we're doing here is we're saying 15 of some digit 10 times, so 10 of each digit, and that gives us a list, which we then collapse some of the lists into just that. It's like flattening the that 2D array. So now we have that. Let's get our result, which is this one. So result equals that. Let's get the percent correct. So what we're doing here is for each of the elements, test if the 2 are equal, and then count how many are true and divide that by how many there are in total. And let's go ahead and print that out. Percent correct. So 96.6% correct. So there you have it, folks. We have some Python code that uses TensorFlow to create a model. Vertex AI serves that model as well as runs the training pipelines. And then a cloud function over here receives images and outputs predictions. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.